Call this meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 7. Please rise and join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilors, tonight Mayor DeSimone is with us, and she'll be addressing the council to present the fiscal 2024 general government as well as water and wastewater budgets. Therefore, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We are operating under suspended rules, and Mayor DeSimone, welcome back.
Thank you very much. I wasn't anticipating being first on the list. Thank you very much. Good evening, Attleboro Municipal Council. It is my distinct pleasure to be here before you tonight to present to you the proposed FY24 general operating budget. And for those watching at home or otherwise interested, I would point out that the entire budget is available on the city website as of now. So my plan, President Delisio, for this evening was to read the budget messages in.
Perfect.
And then, of course, we'll have the whole budget meeting process to go through it in its entirety. So if you would be so kind to indulge me, I'm going to read the budget message. Dear President Delisio, Municipal Councilors, I respectfully submit the proposed FY24 general operating budget for the City of Attleboro. As required by law, the FY24 budget is balanced with all operating and capital expenditures covered by anticipated revenues and capital reserves funded with free cash or contributions. Importantly, this budget does not result in layoffs in any city department and maintains the high level of services the community has come to expect. This budget has been prepared with the thoughtful cooperation and collaboration of all departments responsible for providing services to our city. We focused on a shared common purpose of providing a city budget that is balanced, realistically maintain services and programs for all Attleboro residents, and fairly compensate city employees for their efforts. Before proceeding, it is incumbent upon me to acknowledge the hard work, commitment, and professionalism of our city employees. As we all know, in the past several months, there have been unprecedented changes in city leadership and managerial staff. Yet essential city services were continually provided and all obligations were efficiently satisfied and without interruption. The city is very fortunate to have a cadre of caring and competent staff members. Of particular note, the city has been without a budget director, a director of budget and administration since mid-February, which is typically when significant budget preparation work begins. Thus, the proposed budget you currently hold in your hands is principally due to the extraordinary effort of our city auditor, Deb Gould, and her outstanding staff in the accounting department. Deb and I spent many, many hours together in budget meetings with every city department head and the school superintendent and director of finance. These informative, insightful, and enlightening meetings, combined with Deb's wealth of experience, perceptive questions, and attention to detail, have resulted in a balanced, conservative, and complete budget. The city owes a great deal of gratitude to Deb and her staff, and I certainly do personally. As the Federal Reserve works to contain inflation without tipping the economy into recession, and closely monitoring current and projected economic trends, we chose a conservative approach to both revenue and expense projections. Global economic and political challenges, increasing interest rates, legacy impacts of COVID, labor shortages and related wage increases, and lingering supply chain issues are just a few external factors that add challenges to the FY24 budget. Vehicles and many more items are still subject to delays and prices have increased dramatically. Within this context, the city faces a delicate balance of managing the increasing demands of a growing community while remaining within the levy limit. As we head into FY24 and beyond, the city's ability to fund expanding demand for programs, provide for ever more services, maintain our quality of life, and to improve and maintain facilities and infrastructure will likely be stretched. More specifically, note that the FY24 budget is based on the following primary drivers. 1, contractual salary and wage obligations. 2, increases in related personnel costs, such as a 3.5% health insurance increase for active plans, and a budgeted mid-year increase of 5% for MedEx retiree plans. 3, increases in contracted service expenditures in most departments. 4, a need to attract and retain high-quality staff within all departments. 5, the impact of increased interest rates on city debt. budget process. For reasons mentioned earlier, this year's budget process did not follow the normal trajectory, and the situation was compounded by the election of a new governor and the delayed release of the state budget, which occurred approximately 1 month later than usual. Prior to his departure from city employ, the former Director of Budget and Finance had outlined the general parameters of a preliminary budget with rough estimates and anticipated revenues. But there was much unknown when I took office on March 13th. Using the preliminary revenue and cost projections, the city auditor and I held department budget meetings during the week of March 20 to 25. These meetings involved not only close scrutiny of expenses and planned projects and purchases for FY24, but also discussion of longer-term financial needs and projects. As warranted, necessary and thoughtful revisions to proposed department budgets were made. And as a result of these meetings, and as additional revenue-related information was received. After the budget meetings, the auditor and I continued to reevaluate the requested budget amounts and worked with department heads to identify additional opportunities for reductions and efficiencies in order to reduce an anticipated deficit. Acknowledging larger economic forces and current challenges to attracting and retaining a strong city staff, cost of living adjustments have been negotiated with several unions in FY24. 4 union contracts have yet to be negotiated. After much scrutiny and consideration, finer costs and revenue adjustments were made to all department budgets, resulting in this proposed budget. It must be emphasized, however, that achieving a balanced budget for FY24 should not overshadow the risk of a structural deficit looming on the horizon. Budget highlights. One of the highlights of this budget is the continued recommendation for an appropriation of $500,000 to the Reserve Fund for Capital Stabilization Account. As recently as FY20, there were no funds appropriated in the general fund designated for capital improvement projects that did not reach an appropriate amount for long-term debt. In FY21, $50,000 was added. In FY22, that amount grew to $500,000, where it has continued. In an age of increasing interest rates, it will remain particularly important to continue this funding. Additional budget highlights include funding to meet all annual debt and retirement obligations, inflation-driven increases across departments as needed to purchase necessary supplies, increasing the snow budget to $200,000 or 105.2% over the FY23 original budgeted amount, adding 3 new police officers in the traffic unit, contributing $102,500 to OPEB, which is a 2.5% increase over the prior year in accord with the new policy. Continued funding of $210,000 for police cruisers, which allows us to replace another 3 cruisers without paying interest and cost of issuance if we were to bond. Carving out legal services from the professional services line item for improved transparency and monitoring. Directing department heads to begin tracking routine building maintenance and repair costs to inform the new building maintenance line item in FY25. Moving the DIPDs line from citywide to the Planning and Development Department as a better budget practice. Debt policy. Debt helps provide our community with the infrastructure it needs to thrive and is one option the city can use to pay for capital assets. As outlined by the GFOA, debt is best incurred in the following conditions: low interest rates, a soft construction market, when the asset has a long useful life, financial forecasts indicate that the debt is affordable, and the use of debt is consistent with legal and other limits. Having said that, when debt conditions are not favorable, and particularly when capital needs have an expense level not great enough to warrant incurring debt, funds from free cash or the capital reserve are used. For example, economic conditions have been such that the purchase of police cruisers are budgeted as a recurring cost that is predictable and affordable enough to budget without taking out debt. We are in the 3rd year of a 3-year plan to transition purchasing police cruisers with budgeted money rather than debt, and good debt policy would suggest we continue this practice. Debt capacity measures our ability to take on debt. It's a method by which we can determine the affordability and risk of potential debt, and ensure decisions are made in the best interests of both present and future stakeholders. State law limits a municipality's authorized indebtedness to 5% of the full and fair cash value of property in a community. Since the financial crisis of 2008, with a few isolated exceptions, interest rates hovered at or close to zero until jumping sharply in late 2022. Within the early months of 2023, interest rates soared to levels not seen in 20 years, and it is unclear when the rates will decline. Thus, for FY24, with the high cost of borrowing, it is imperative that we address important needs and services in the city, while also closely monitoring our debt capacity. This will help ensure the city retains its AA stable credit rating by S&P. No request for authorization of debt will be taken on without first establishing in advance our ability to make annual payments. Annual payments can be done through either using retired debt or dedicating new growth in the city to debt service. It is important for citizens to know that no debt is taken on by the city no debt is taken on in the city by the mayor without a vote of the municipal council, which comes after deliberations with the treasurer, auditor, budget director, mayor, and bond council. Attleboro Public Schools funding in FY24 and beyond. Attleboro is fortunate to have an exceptional public educational system with many talented and dedicated professional educators at all levels. As a community member, parent, and resident with many family members who teach and work in K-12 education, I fully value the mission of Attleboro Public Schools to engage, challenge, and inspire our students. And I believe the entire community benefits from the success of our schools. Funding our schools is a significant financial investment, making up 56% of the total city budget. Most of the school's costs involve contractual and employee-related expenses, which is also true for most of the entire city budget. In FY24, net school spending increased 8.73% from FY23 to $97,105,121. Although Attleboro's Chapter 8 increased 11.7% from last year, our required district contribution increased 5.29%, requiring an additional $2.2 million above last year's contribution. Net school spending also includes a statewide 14% increase in out-of-district special education costs. School transportation costs have increased by more than $633,750 from FY23. It must be noted that with the recent dramatic increase in interest rates aforementioned, the debt service has ballooned for the $6.2 million train project that was appropriated in 2021 to make energy efficiency improvements to city school buildings. By agreement, the city is taking credit for the debt service costs, and the amount being credited to the city for FY24 has jumped to approximately $540,534. But for the huge rise in interest rates, much of these funds would have been included as part of the administration's contribution to the school budget. Relatedly, as ARPA funds have largely been expended or committed, FY24 and beyond will mean that funds for capital improvements either be borrowed or come from existing reserves. Confronted with this difficult budget landscape, the school department was presented with an initial budget target of $97,517,044, which is minimally above net school spending. This amount continues the administration's commitment to provide 50% of 2.5% of the levy, or $1,074,444 in FY24. Importantly, based on budget discussions with the school superintendent and finance director, this proposed budget amount would allow the school department to meet contractual expenses and would not result in any job or educational program losses. Understandably, the proposed budget was met with concern by the school committee, as it does not reflect the same percentage of funding above net school spending as has occurred in the last few years. Moving forward, particularly anticipating the end of ESSER funds, it is imperative that the city begin forecasting its financial needs for the next 3 to 5 years. And representatives from the school committee and the school administration will be asked to join with the city's finance team for this purpose. Looking ahead, after the certification of free cash, contributions will be made to both the Reserve Fund for Stabilization and the Reserve Fund for Special Education Stabilization. It is important that we maintain healthy reserves as a measure of economic stability. Moreover, it is essential that the city maintain adequate levels of reserve funds to mitigate financial risk that can occur from unforeseen revenue fluctuations, unanticipated expenditures, and similar circumstances. Importantly, this year will bring to completion the construction of our new Attleboro High School, a much celebrated, impressive, and state-of-the-art building that will serve students and residents for many years to come. The new AHS is the education hub of the community and will attract more new families and businesses to our city. This is truly a community-wide accomplishment that all residents can be proud of and for which every taxpayer should be appreciated. Recognizing the ongoing opioid addiction crisis, we will utilize $150,000 in opioid settlement funds to create a substance use disorder prevention program in contract with a counselor/social worker to work with the Attleboro Police Department. This critical service will give the department more resources and services to help residents struggling with substance use disorder. We have 4 outstanding unsettled contracts for FY24 to FY27, for which we have budgeted reserve funds for labor negotiations. Recruitment and retention continue to be challenging and costly problems for our police and fire departments. And it is also becoming more difficult to recruit new city employees for other city positions. Moving forward, the city must reform its hiring practices in order to be able to hire and retain needed staff. We are hopeful that the upcoming wage and classification survey will help us better attract and retain more new city employees in all departments. Distributing limited resources to competing demands is always the principal challenge of any budget. This budget is no different, as is too often the case. This budget finds many departments that are not fully funded, staffed, or equipped. The increasing costs of fuel, goods, materials, wages, and services are outpacing the growth of our revenues. Additionally, it's important to note that the ESSER funds, which were COVID-19 emergency relief funds, end in September 2024. If we as a community seek to maintain the quality of life our residents deserve and provide our children with a competitive education, we must begin preparing for our future now. For these reasons, I will soon convene a One City, One Budget committee whose mission will be developing options to facilitate a sustainable 3 to 5 year financial forecast for the city for fiscal years FY25 to 29. This forecast will help guide us in prioritizing important budget decisions. This will require us to work collaboratively, transparently, and thoughtfully across departments to ensure that we maintain the quality of life that all residents desire and deserve. Respectfully, Kathleen D. Simone. President Delicio, would you like me to read the enterprise budget message? It is shorter.
Yes, no, that's fine. Before we do that, I just want to say well done. I know there's a lot of challenges. Congratulations to you, to Deb Gould, the entire administration on presenting a balanced budget.
Very much for that.
I look forward to deliberations in the upcoming weeks. Now would be honored if you'd read the enterprise budget message.
My pleasure, and as I said, it is shorter, friends. Okay. Dear President Delicio, municipal councilors, I respectfully submit the proposed FY24 enterprise budgets. It's at the end, in the last section. For the water and wastewater enterprise funds, this memo serves as my budget message for both the water and wastewater departments. I was waiting. Are you looking for it? Do you need help? Yeah. Okay. Excuse me.
It's at the very end.
Thank you. Yep. Background. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53.5F, the City of Attleboro established the current enterprise funds for the water and wastewater departments in 2001. A prior vote to establish such funds occurred in 1991 and was rescinded in 1996. An enterprise fund gives communities the flexibility to account separately for all financial activities associated with a broad range of municipal services. It establishes a separate accounting and financial reporting mechanism for municipal services for which a fee is charged in exchange for goods or services. Revenues and expenses of the service are segregated into a fund separate from all other governmental activities, and that is from a DLS Bureau of Accounts memo. An enterprise fund provides management and taxpayers with information to measure performance, analyze the impact of financial decisions, determine the cost of providing a service, and identify any subsidy from the general fund in providing service. Enterprise accounting allows a community to demonstrate to the public the portion of total cost of a service that is recovered through user charges and the portion that is subsidized by the tax levy or other available funds, if any. A community may choose to recover total service costs through the user charges, but is not required. Wastewater department. Wastewater treatment is vital as a means of caring for our environment and our own health. Wastewater contains many harmful substances and cannot be released back to the environment until it is treated. It includes substances such as human waste, food scraps, oils, soaps, and chemicals. In homes, this includes water from sinks, showers, bathtubs, toilets, washing machines, and dishwashers. Businesses and industries also contribute their share of used water that must be clean. PFAS is also found in wastewater, and remediation is very likely going to be increasingly expensive moving forward. Attleboro's wastewater department continues to perform an essential service to the city. Operational cost increases necessitate a rate increase for FY24. This budget seeks a rate of $10.52 and $11.42 for residential and commercial entities, respectively, per 100 cubic feet for consumption after July 1, 2023. Retained earnings in the amount of $250,000 will be used for the baseline flow monitoring plan for infiltration and inflow capital improvement project. Water Department. Safe drinking water is a fundamental human right. We are fortunate to live in Massachusetts, where the public water supplies are among the best in the country and are subject to the most stringent government standards in the world. Both the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection maintain exacting standards. Mass DEP requires our water department and local water suppliers in the state to perform ongoing tests for the presence of bacteria, lead, and other heavy metals, herbicides, pesticides, and industrial solvents. If testing reveals an exceedance of a federal standard, the water supplier is required to notify customers through local news media. If bacteria or chemicals are found in levels that pose a threat to human health, the water supply is immediately treated to remove the contaminants or taken out of service if the problem can't be solved immediately. The Attleboro Water Department continues to perform essential service to the city. Inflationary pressures, specifically related to health insurance, which increased by 3.5%, wages and debt service increased by 11.9%, necessitate both a rate increase and the use of retained earnings to balance the budget. This budget seeks a rate of $5.99 per 100 cubic feet for water consumption after July 1st, 2023, and a use of retained earnings in the amount of $120,140. The rate increase is necessary to maintain retained earnings. The importance of retained earnings fund is that such a fund allows the water department to do critical capital projects without the need to bond for these projects or respond to unforeseen needs. Future challenges. Beyond FY24, both the water department and wastewater department will require substantial investments in infrastructure in the years ahead. It is important that we begin thinking about and planning for these investments now. Our current wastewater facility went online in 1980 and was retrofitted in 2004. The retrofit replaced mechanical and electrical systems, but no new treatment processes were added. It has now been 20 years since the retrofit, and the city needs to start planning for the next upgrade to the facility. Unlike the 2004 retrofit, new processes will need to be added to meet the stricter NIPD's permit requirement, and the aging buildings and tanks will also need to be addressed. The comprehensive water management plan is the first step in evaluating what will be needed to bring the treatment plant forward. The rough estimate for these upgrades is in excess of $150 million. In addition to multiple millions of dollars needed water main replacements outlined in the FY24 to 28 capital improvements plan, the permanent upgrades at Wading River water treatment plant needed to remove PFAS and TTHM are estimated to cost $24 to $26 million. These upgrades should be completed in the next 4 to 6 years. It is important also to note there was a very significant development in March with the announcement of the Biden administration and the EPA that the levels of PFAS chemicals in public drinking water need to be significantly reduced. The anticipated remediation costs involved with such a reduction could drive up the projected costs for both the water and wastewater department projects. More specifically, the EPA would cap PFOA and PFAS at 4 parts per trillion, essentially the lowest level at which they can reliably measured. 4 other PFAS, PFNA, PFHXS, PFBS, and Gen X chemicals would be regulated as a mixture, which still tests each one individually but assesses their risk in combination with another. There are several national PFAS class action lawsuits against chemical companies like DuPont, 3M, ChemGuard, Kitty Fenwal, National Foam Inc., and Dynax Corp. That are responsible for PFAS production. And the administration intends to join one of these class actions in the near future. In conclusion, to prepare for these significant infrastructure projects and better ensure a consistent, transparent, and fair process in setting the rates and establishing indirect costs, we are planning to conduct rate and indirect cost studies for the water and wastewater departments. With a clear and current picture of the operating costs for these departments, we will discontinue the unsustainable practice of using retained earnings to subsidize the rates and create a long-term financial plan that includes a reserve policy. Respectfully, Kathleen D. Simone.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
That's a lot.
A lot of reading. As has been customary in the past, we won't be taking questions. We'll be having several opportunities over the upcoming weeks to discuss this budget. But thank you for coming down.
Thank you very much.
again for the diligence of you, the administration, and the department heads. So
very much,
certainly
President
a challenging bout.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. I'll see
Thank
you
you,
at the
Madam.
budget meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to approve the records of April 4th and April 18th.
Second?
Thank you. Motion is in order. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, will you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Yes, Mr. President. Public hearing, excuse me, regarding the proposed amendments to Section 9-2, Section 9-41.2, Section 20-11.2, and Section 20-11.3 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro. Recently, a review was conducted of Section 9-2 adoption fees, 9-441 impoundment of dogs, and Section 20-11 Animal Welfare Fund. It is determined that updates are needed to change some of the established fees related to the adoption, licensing, and impoundment of dogs and expand the capacity of the Animal Welfare Fund number 2615. These changes will bring animal control in line with our surrounding communities and give the Animal Control Department the ability to provide an in-house rabies clinic to the public.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against? Anyone to speak neither for nor against? Seeing none, Councilor Bennett, you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please go to the reading of the second public hearing, please?
Yes, public hearing regarding the petition from National Grid requesting the installation of a new pole, P 2022-84, on County Street to replace another on private land and to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires for the purpose of making connections.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak in favor? Please. Yep, why don't you come on up, approach the podium, please, and for the record, just give us a name and address.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeff Silva. I work for National Grid. I live in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and I'm here to answer any questions that need to be answered.
Any questions? Councilor Dolan?
Thank you. So I Googled this address. So is there, so I saw what I saw on Google Maps, the best view I could get. Is there a pole in somebody's yard?
There is, and that is supporting the pole on the street with an anchor
And so the goal is to remove that.
and put it on right away.
Just wanted to clarify that. Thank
Make
you.
it his
I
last
was
name.
trying to look at it on Google and,
Sometimes you just have to drive by.
yeah, it looked like it was in the person's yard. So
Yeah.
obviously,
I think they did that back in the day.
yeah.
I can't speak for that, but
All right.
I have a couple up north, a town that I cover, they did that, and we're trying to get them all out too.
Yeah. I wouldn't
it
want
right.
it in my yard, so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions? Jeff, just for the record, could you give us your last name again?
Silva, S-I-L-V-A.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. There are no other questions. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against? Anyone to speak neither for nor against? Seeing none, Councilor Dolan, do you see a reason to keep this public hearing open?
No, thank you.
Okay. I declare this public hearing closed. And Councilor Dolan, would you just explain to Jeff the process from here on out? When it'll be voted out of committee?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
No
I thought I
worries.
didn't see. So, we will vote this out of committee next week, and then in front of the full council the following week. And then it'll be all set. Thank you.
Thank you. I declare that
So
public...
you don't have to stay. Excuse me, I didn't
No
mean to
worries.
interrupt you.
No worries at all. I declare that public hearing closed. I entertain a motion to enter into committee of the whole.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're now in committee of the whole. If anyone wishes to address the council on any piece of city business. George, you good? No airing of grievances? I would entertain a motion to arise from committee of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have now arisen from committee of the whole. We will now have a reading of the mayor's communication regarding the budget. Madam Clerk, you may waive the reading other than items 1 and 6, as the entire communication will be referred to the Finance Committee.
Sir,
Councilors, before I turn it over to Madam Clerk, due to May 30th being the 5th meeting, and June 6th being the special election, we can't have public hearings on June 6th. Therefore, I'll be calling for a special meeting on May 24th at 6 p.m. to host public hearings for the fiscal '24 general budget as well as the fiscal '24 water and wastewater budgets. The reason we're doing this is just because of the condensed time frame that we have. It's not unusual this time of year to have special meetings on off nights. Also, Councilor Conti, I know you'll be doing the next 2 committee meetings from 7 until 11-ish. Therefore, what I will be doing is calling for those to be hybrid meetings. So we'll be able to do those on Zoom as well. I think it will help with the efficiency of the meetings. Those are going to be long meetings. So I think the ability to do those at Zoom, we will be starting committee meetings at 6 p.m. both nights. That being said,
Excuse me. Can I just ask, when you said to Madam Clerk about reading the communication, can you tell me what you said? Can you repeat that, please?
so we have 2 communications tonight. We have the usual, and then we have the fiscal '24 budget, where the mayor just came down and she read the highlights of the budget. It's not unusual that we don't read the mayor's communication regarding the budget into the record. This year, it is also online.
Yep, no problem.
Nope, I think it's a fair question, so
No,
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So what we will do is read item 1, which is the submittal of the general government budget. Item 6 is the submittal of the water and wastewater budget, at which time I'll ask Council Conti to call for public hearings on the 24th at 6. So good question. It's a lot of moving
Thanks for
parts.
clarifier.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that we're all in agreement here. So, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. May 2nd, 2023, fiscal year '24 budget. Dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit to your honorable body the City of Attleboro's general government annual budget for fiscal year 2024.
Finance Committee, please. And Council Conti, would you like to call for a public hearing on Wednesday, May 24th at 6 p.m.?
Yes, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
I am pleased to present to your honorable body the proposed water and wastewater enterprise budgets for fiscal year 2024.
Finance Committee. And Council Conti, would you like to call for a public hearing on Wednesday, May 24th at 6 p.m.?
Yes, please.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. As far as the rest of the communication, that will be also referred to Finance Committee.
Thank you.
Hope you're getting some caffeine, Rich.
I'm ready for it.
Of course, I know you are. We'll now go on to the reading of the mayor's communication.
May 2nd, 2023. Dear municipal councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler, regarding snowplows that the Public Works Department would like to surplus. There was no interest in this equipment from any of the other departments, therefore I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Stephanie K. Elliott, 60 Brownell Street, to the Council on Human Rights to fill an expired term to expire February 2026.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance regarding the need for funds for necessary medical exams for 7 new firefighters. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $14,000 from account 1220100-587385 fire retrofit lights to account 1220100-530104 fire medical consultation. Copies in your packets.
Public Safety and Emergency Management, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water, Courtney Allen, regarding the need for funds to cover the shipping costs associated with the replacement parts and supplies for the traveling screens at the West Street plant. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $18,000 from account 6100-359000 Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account 6100-582516 Water Enterprise Fund plant improvements. Copies in your packets.
Public Works, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water Courtney Allen regarding the need for funds to purchase 2 turbines and associated parts. Hope I said that right. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $8,000 from account 6100-578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100-553182 Water Enterprise Fund Laboratory Supplies. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler, regarding the need for funds to replace all NO2 and CO2 detectors and clean all ductwork at 101 Lamb Street. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $16,129.30 from account 1420100-51100 Public Works Salary and Wages to account 1420100-524011 Public Works Maintenance of Buildings. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Lynn Devine to fill the 3-year term of Personnel Director, term to expire February 2026. Ms. Devine was offered the position with the City of Attleboro effective May 8, 2023, under a temporary 90-day appointment in accordance with Section 3.3B of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter. Resume in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Mason Lord to fill the 3-year term of Director of Budget Administration, term to expire February 2026. Mr. Lord was offered the position with the City of Attleboro effective May 15, 2023, under a temporary 90-day appointment in accordance with Section 3.3B of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter. Resume in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould regarding the fiscal year 23 snow deficit. It is recommended that the fiscal year 23 snow deficit of $207,984.93 be covered with available free cash in fiscal year 23. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $207,984.93 from account 1000-359000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to the following accounts.
Finance Committee, please.
As you may be aware, the 4th of July fireworks display will not happen this July. However, we have been able to find an alternative date for the fireworks display in September 2023. Additionally, we have been able to find the funds in the fiscal year 23 budget to enter into a contract for the fiscal year 24 services. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body approve securing a purchase order from funds in account 1124-1000-530150 Citywide Special Events Professional Services in order to sign a contract as soon as possible for a September fireworks display.
Finance Committee, please.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Marcia Sweeney, 113th Street, Apartment 9, to the Council on Human Rights to fill an unexpired term to expire February 2024. Copies in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Wastewater Thomas Hayes regarding the need for funds to repair the filter press feed pumps. These pumps are critical in the operation of the treatment facility. One pump failed last night just after midnight, and the facility is currently unable to dewater sludge. With the lead time on parts to repair the pumps can take weeks, if not months. Additionally, one pump is out for repairs, but there is still a 2-week wait for the remaining parts to arrive to complete the repair. The wastewater department is attempting to make temporary repairs from one of the pumps that failed last night using parts from the other failed pump. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $25,000 from account 6000-53900 where Wastewater Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account 6000-584073 Water Enterprise Fund filter press pump in accordance with Article 2, Section 2-9B of the City Charter of the City of Attleboro. I respectfully request your honorable body to consider this as an emergency measure.
Public Works Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould regarding fiscal year-end water capital project closeouts to fund a portion of the Steer Street Water Project. On August 20th, 2019, the Honorable Municipal Council voted a loan authorization in the amount of $1,700,000 for the permitting, bidding, construction oversight, and construction of water mains, including road restoration on Steer Street. During the planning phase for the May 2023 borrowing, it was determined that while additional funds would be needed for the Steer Street project, it would be most cost-effective to pay the final expenses from available resources and not go to market for the balance of the project cost. The accounting office has received notice that the project is complete. The project cost net of issuance was $1,345,000 $1,345,058.80, leaving $42,524.37 to be funded. Your honorable body voted to fund construction of a water main on Deanville Road through a loan authorization in the amount of $946,000 on June 2nd, 2020, vote number 9. This funding was in addition to council votes taken on June 26, 2018, and November 18, 2018, in the amount of $117,000 and $12,725, respectively, from Water Enterprise retained earning for design-related expenses. There remains $33,222.99 unexpended in this fund. The accounting office has received notice that the project is completed and all obligations have been paid. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $33,222.99 from 3330-599000 Deanville other financing uses to 334-499000 Stair Street Water Project, other financing sources to fund Stair Street Water Main Project. Additionally, the Deanville project has authorized an unissued debt. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable rescind $77,290.50 of debt authorized by the Honorable Municipal Council on June 2nd, 2020. On February 2nd, 2021, the Honorable Municipal Council funded the cleaning and lining of Park Pace and Lonsdale Avenue from multiple capital projects with similar economic life. Total funding for the project was $206,000. The accounting office has received notice that the project is complete. The total cost of the project was $130,750, leaving $75,250 available in Fund 3337 Park Place and Lonsdale Avenue. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $9,301.38 from 3337-599000 Park Place and Lonsdale Avenue other financing uses to Fund 3334-499000 Stair Street Water Project to fund the Stair Street Water Main Project. Finally, as it is not the intention of the city to borrow the balance of funds necessary to complete the financing of the completed Stair Street project, therefore, I hereby request your honorable body rescind $397,465.57 of authorized unissued debt related to the $1,700,000 bond authorization voted on August 20th, 2019 for the Stair Street project. Copies in your packets.
Public Works, please.
Sincerely, Kathleen DeSimone, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, will you now please go into a reading of the clerk's communication?
Yes, sir. Clerk's communication, Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. We have received a letter from Jerry Freecott of South Attleboro asking the city to hold off on the premature removal of the Highland Park parking lot that was constructed for the high school project.
City property and claims, please.
We have received a letter from Blaze Barboza, team lead for Nova Farms Attleboro Security, asking to not allow Nova Farms to stay open past 8 p.m.
Ordinance Committee, please.
We have received a letter from Tucker McNulty and David Pregana, 50 Thayer Farm Road, urging the council to approve the creation of a Sustainability Commission for the City of Attleboro.
Ordinances Committee, please.
We have received a letter from the Assistant to the Municipal Council, Virginia Stewart Becker, regarding a scrivener's error on the certificate of vote taken March 21st, 2023.
I will treat that as an FYI.
We have a proclamation stating the Attleboro City Council do hereby proclaim May 7th through the 13th, 2023 as Children's Mental Health Week and urge all citizens of Attleboro to promote this year's theme, Accept, Advocate, Act, because awareness is not enough.
Treat that as an FYI as well.
And that concludes communications for this evening.
Thank you very much. We will now go into committee reports, beginning as always with Councilor Waterman. Good evening, Mr. Waterman.
Good evening. So, the License Committee does not have any business this evening. However, we will have business over the next 2-week period.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works Committee from the docket of May 16th, 2023. I move to adopt the following emergency preamble. That the Attleboro Municipal Council vote to take action as provided in the City Charter, Section 2-9B, regarding the emergency which presently exists relative to the request of the mayor to appropriate $25,000 from account 6000-359000 wastewater enterprise retained earnings to account 6000-584073 filter press pump for the immediate repair of 2 filter press feed pumps used in the dewatering of biosolids. Due to the time constraints involved, the need for immediate repair, the nature of the emergency makes it necessary to take action without waiting the prescribed time as provided in the city charter.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, this is just to approve the emergency preamble, and it's clearly an emergency.
Additional questions or comments? We'll have a roll call vote, and as Councilor Dolan said, this is just to adopt the emergency preamble. The motion will be next. We'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 16th, 2023, I move to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $25,000 from account wastewater enterprise retained earnings to account filter press pump for the immediate repair of 2 filter press feed pumps used in the dewatering of biosolids.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
So clearly, this is emergency, and thankfully, in the mayor's communication, there was a little bit more detail. So I received this when I got here, so I don't have any additional information. So hopefully, the info in the mayor's communication was enough.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That's all the business for Public Works Committee, and we look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee has 2 motions this evening. The first, from the docket of May 2nd, 2023, I move to transfer $11,451.84 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer to the citywide reserve fund for compensation 53rd week, and further transfer $136,451.84 to accounts as follows: $4,929.59 to the clerk salary and wages account, and $130,522.25 to the police salary and wages account.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, Mr. President. This only doesn't happen in a year when December 31st is on a Saturday or a Sunday. Otherwise, we do this every year. And that concludes my comments.
Additional questions or comments? June 30th, right?
I'm sorry, you're correct.
Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of May 2nd, 2023, I move to authorize the school department to pay the following previous year's school bill from Eversource in the amount of $1,414.50 for the business office department that was received after the year closed.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
I do not.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That completes the business the Finance Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Excellent. Councilor Conti, would you like to call for a meeting for senior tax abatement?
I would like to call for a meeting for the senior tax abatement at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Bennett.
Reporting for Transportation and Traffic Committee, there's no business for the committee this evening. And reporting for ordinances and legislative matters. From the docket of January 17th, 2023, I move to strike the following. New business, that section 7-1.1A of the Municipal Council Rules of Procedure be amended as follows.
We can waive the reading as you read it last week.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No comments, thank you.
Additional questions, comments? Seeing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the business for ordinances and legislative matters, and we look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Bennett. Councilor, Vice President Cobus.
The IT and Infrastructure Committee doesn't have any business tonight. We call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
We will recognize Councilor Conti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reporting for Zoning and Land Use Committee, I have two motions to bring before the council this evening. The first from the docket of April 4th, 2023. I move to accept the following street to lay out a portion of Hillcrest Avenue as a public way with a length of 225 feet from Station 10 to Station 13 and 25, and to accept said way and any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all as shown on a plan and profile entitled Street Acceptance Plan, Hillcrest Avenue Extensions, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated December 15, 2021, and revised through April 25, 2022, prepared by Joyce E. Hastings, LPLS, and Daniel R. Campbell, RPE, which plan and profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Cobus. Motion's in order. Any comments?
I do not.
Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of April 4th, 2023, I move to accept the following street to lay out a portion of Hillcrest Avenue as a public way, length of 125 feet from Station 13 and 25 to Station 14 and 50, and accept said way and any related drainage, water, or sewer facilities or easements, all as shown on a plan and profile entitled Street Acceptance Plan, Hillcrest Avenue Extension 2, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated September 16, 2021, revised through April 25, 2022, prepared by Joyce E. Hastings, RPLS, and Daniel R. Campbell, RPE, which plan and profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Cobus. Motion is in order. Any comments?
I do not.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That completes the business that the Ordinances and Zoning and Land Use Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. Councilor Reynolds.
Thank you. Reporting for City Property and Claims Committee from the docket of May 2nd, 2023, I move to declare the following water department equipment as surplus and available for disposition: 4 iPads and 1 benchtop meter.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any
I
comments?
have no further comments.
Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 2nd, 2023, I move to declare the following library items as surplus and available for disposition.
I'll waive the reading.
I'm just going to name them quickly.
Okay,
Not
sure.
these, just going to say 2 coat racks, 39 computer tower units, 10 computer monitors, and 7 printers.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion's in order. Any comments?
I have none.
Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of May 2nd, 2023, I move to declare the following Council on Aging item as surplus and available for disposition. It is an organ.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any
I
comments?
have none.
Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
From the docket of May 2nd, 2023, I move to approve expending of funds and any future grant amendments regarding the receipt of a municipal energy technical assistant grant from the Mass Department of Energy Resources in the amount of $15,000 to the Planning Department.
Second.
Thank you, motion is in order. Any comments?
I have no further.
Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion passes.
That is all that City Property and Claims Committee has this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Angelo.
Thank you, President Delicio. Reporting for Personal Veterans Human Services from the docket of March 7th, 2023. I move to a call for public hearing on May 16th, 2023 for following that the Municipal Council and School Committee members be granted a salary increase that falls in line with today's minimum wage and cost of living.
Second.
Motion is in order. Any questions or comments?
We'll discuss it in committee.
So it's just calling for the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
And what date are you asking for the public hearing?
May 16th?
I don't know.
It's all set.
Yeah, we need to find out if we may need 14 days.
I discussed that with Virginia.
Yeah, he did. That's
Okay,
good.
so we'll put it for May 17th, May 16th. Okay. We have a second. Any questions, comments, concerns on this motion? It's just 10 on this one. Thank you. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion passes.
That concludes the business of Personnel Veterans Human Services Committee. We call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. And Councilor Angelo, would you also like to call a committee meeting for,
Special Committee on Conservation.
yes, sir.
Councilors, thank you, President Delicio. Just one thing to say, I did speak with personnel on this, and this is gonna be going out soon, so, there's been delays, a lot of things going on, and now the study will be getting out soon, and then, we will hear back on this, so.
Thank you for your patience on that.
You're welcome, and, so that's it for a Special Committee on Classification and Compensation. Call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Councilor Blair.
Public Safety Emergency Management has no business to bring forward this evening, but we request a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you. There is no old business, there is no new business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:57. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You.